Welcome, everybody. I am Kurt Roskoff with the World of Ability Podcast Network. And I have met somebody here by the name of Susan that is going to share a little enterprise that she has and a heartfelt service that is shining a light on grief. And so we're going to have a nice exclusive episode here, the two of us. Susan, I'm bringing this forward correctly that I know you through the Happy Neighborhood Project. Is that true?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So since we're shining a light on grief and we met through the Happy Neighborhood Project, the latter part of this, I will be asking for a little bit. We'll do a little reference later on, but we're going to dive into your business. And the way I like to start, Susan, is that to me, there's always circumstances that we go through that then we're sitting there on a day and you're like, I need to do this. And this being shining a light on grief. So let's start there. What was going on in your life that you went through and that, kind of describe for us how you then say, I've got to serve this for others. And then coming up with the name Shining a Light on Grief. Take us back to those days and let's start from the beginning.
All
Take it
right.
away, Susan. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I guess we'll start back in 2017 when my son passed away from glioblastoma. And I knew that as I started my grieving process, I kept getting these strong messages that I need to do something with my experience, because not only was I his caregiver, he was my only child, and then, him passing away, of course, really impacted my life. And I had to rediscover really who I was and how I would move forward and continue to live. While doing that, I was still with my former business, which was event planning. So I was producing expos, holistic and wellness, as well as business expos. And I was just done with that. That didn't serve me any longer. While it was something I was good at, it wasn't enjoyable anymore. So when the pandemic hit, it gave me a chance to kind of sit back and see what I wanted to do as my next business. After owning my own business for over 10 years, I wasn't looking to go work for somebody else. And I decided at the mid 2021 to become a certified master grief coach. And with that, I wasn't sure what to do, but I felt like I kept getting guided to share other people's stories, that other people's stories are important. So not just doing, the one-on-one coaching that a lot of coaches would do. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to stand out. I wanted to do something that was impactful and be of service to others in order to honor my son and keep his memory alive. So where I went from there was I started compiling these books. The first book started at the end of 2021 and was in print by July 2022 with 10 women's stories of love and loss. And those were all different kinds of losses, and including my own story. So I found in that process, it was really a journey of discovery and of healing that we all went on, not just the initial thought was to offer hope and inspiration to other people. It was also a healing journey for the women that were writing their stories. And what was the most interesting was it didn't matter how long ago their loved one passed on. They still went through another layer or more layers of grief as they wrote their story. So that really told me a lot. I was guided to put together the timeline, and everything worked out just perfectly. I felt like I was in the perfect place of where I was meant to be. And I've continued to do that. I now have two of my own books, and I'm getting ready to publish a second book with a breast cancer resource foundation where other people have shared their stories. So it's become a source of helping people heal, and then also on the other side, offering that hope and inspiration to the reader. So I also do some one-on-one coaching using storytelling to help heal.
All right, great stuff here. So, I'm working on my browser. We'll get to it in a moment, but so you kind of set the stage for how you got into this work. It's a legacy project and just a real heartfelt journey that you're going through and meaningful work, as they say.
Yes.
So, what would you say in terms of with where you are at this point, because I think when we get inspired to do stuff, we're kind of getting geared up and getting our mindset. And like you talk about, you feel this calling, that you're coming forth. I think when we get down to do the hard work, it tends to happen some sort of differently than what we thought we were getting into. Like it's pretty much what we're meaning to do, but we tend to learn some things and we tend to adjust because how others respond to our offer to do this, it's a nuance. The people business it's a careful artwork, isn't it?
Yes.
And so what have you learned, getting to this point, and what have you figured out in this realm of grief in terms of people's hesitancy maybe to just get to doing what you're ready to do? What do you have to do to get them ready to move forward on the steps you're providing?
Things that I learned is one, that while the people are writing their stories, most have a hard time including emotion into those. That's where I come in and kind of push them a little bit. I'm known for, sayings like, "Oh, but how did you feel during this time?" Or you say emotion, what were those emotions? So I find a lot of people do not readily talk about those emotions because that's the hard part. Anybody can write the details. The hard part is adding the heart to it. What is the heart feeling? What were you going through at that particular time in your life journey when you either lost somebody, whether it was suddenly, whether they were ill? What were you going through? And I push a lot to get to their story. While it's about their loved one, it's also about them. It's about them witnessing their loved one if they were ill, or witnessing their journey before their passing if it was sudden. So there's a lot that goes into that. The other thing that I learned was, like I said a little earlier, is that the healing part is unexpected. Because I had the longest time period had been 30 years. And that woman still was still grieving the loss of her fiance that died when she was in college. The last thing, I think, that thing that ties everything together is resiliency. That the resilience that many people have when they're faced with a tragic loss of somebody that close to them, that they love deeply, that they do grieve on that same level. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but I continue to heal as I help other people heal.
Yeah. So yeah, there is something to say to do it together. And, listening to you say about, sharing feelings and being ready for this healing and, kind of, being with you and then communicating that and kind of bringing that inner experience out to, okay, now, what are we doing as you're bringing them through, shining a light on that grief, shining a light on grief. It's kind of helping them participate, kind of what do they need to, move their experience forward that
Right.
you're facilitating and serving with them. So on your website, when I go to it, first of all, you're going to, there we go. So when it comes up, everybody, it shows us that we have an opportunity to sign up for a newsletter, a monthly newsletter. So that is something that I'm observing, can help, build up to this because Susan, you're putting all this information out, and by these readings, we're starting to learn a little bit more about your trade and your services and how you do it.
Yeah. And when you sign up for my newsletter, you get my chapter for free.
Yeah, so look at this. So right out of the bat, right off the bat, folks, through the website again, you're able to sign up for the newsletter and get this chapter, and this journey and this process of shining a light on grief starts happening right away through some readings. So I see you got some testimonials here. So you do speaking. You're aiming to go out and speak on this topic. Is that what the speaking page is?
Yes, that page is a work in progress.
Sure. But yeah, so that's what we're doing together. We met at the Happy Neighborhood Project. We're collaborating, working together, but we got your nice bio here, autobiography, maybe. Individual author programs, nonprofit books. So I encourage people to visit this website, and then with the Happy Neighborhood Project, what tends to happen is that we tend to share our LinkedIn profiles. So Susan, I got LinkedIn here, coming to meet, and there's the website again. So take a look at linkedin.com/in, and then Susan's name there. And so we have that here for you at the World of Ability Podcast Network. Anything that you need with Susan beyond going right to her website. And then let me see here. I'm looking for, that contact. So obviously we're here to get you directly in touch with Susan. But with our show here, I'm obviously ready to go if there's anything I can do to help. Also, additionally, in other ways, get you connected to Susan in the best form for you. Feel free to reach me, Kurt. I'm also with a group called Project iHeart, which is actually Project iHeart is a veteran service organization with a concerted effort responding to veteran suicide by spreading hope to veterans. So that's where when Susan brought this to me, I kind of look at it that I'm dealing with suicide ideation with that veteran service organization, so we try to save lives when we can, but when the loss is where we're at, that we have lost somebody in our life. I am really liking this mantra, Susan. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. So my email address is kurt@projectiheart.org. If anybody wants to contact me as well. And then my phone number is 262-372-1SKI. So that's 262-372-1754. And feel free to communicate with us on our social medias with the World Ability Podcast Network. Happy to play a little customer service and make sure all of you out there are taken care of as you're viewing and listening to this special exclusive episode here. Very happy to be able to capture this information, and we're going to be sharing it out. We're going to be restreaming it and making sure that as many as are following out there as possible can kind of know that this is available. What a concept, shining a light on grief. So Susan, before we began, you kind of came in. I liked how you showed up today. You said, I'm ready. This was like definitely a go. What are we missing? When you came into here, I'm guessing you had some ideas in terms of what we might talk about today. Anything you want to add in, any extras or anything from our conversation that's coming to mind right now that you want to get to them before we end our show today?
Yeah, one of the things that comes to mind is that we're not taught how to grieve. And it's like talking about money. Nobody talks about money. It's one of those subjects that we just don't learn about, or too often we don't learn about, and we just use examples such as the way we grew up or the way our parents handled grief. And in most cases, it was you didn't talk about it. And that's one of the things that I really want to bring to light, is that taboo dark subject, to bring it to be more of a conversational piece, and for people not to be afraid to approach somebody when they know they're grieving. Nobody has to have the right answers. Nobody has to be able to say the right thing. Most of the time, all it takes is, hey, how are you today? I'm here to listen. You don't need to offer advice. You don't need to fix it. Just listen. That's the best thing that anyone can do, is listen and let them talk about their loved one, because talking about their loved one is so important in the healing process. Most people love talking about their loved one and about stories, and depending on how long of a time period they were in your life, tons of stories that people can share, and a lot of happy moments. It's nice to be able to remember those happy moments, not just the sad ones. So I would recommend that if you know somebody grieving, just reach out to them and let them know that you're thinking about them, because that will go a lot further than you imagine.
Very good stuff. Thank you, Susan, for the that message, and getting me thinking. And as we're visiting here, and in our previous visits, following up from meeting each other at HMP, obviously, as any of us are hearing this, we have the opportunity to think of the grieving that we've done in our own life. So like for me, as you're talking, this is just kind of, part of the human experience. It's something that we do have to, work through together. And so I'm really sensing the value of what you're doing, and really feeling the appreciation that you took on this initiative to be available to us out here, to do that, shining a light on grief. Because it is a tough process. And then, professionals like yourself getting me thinking about, how well, have I handled, the grief in my life, that even though we kind of sort of moved
Right.
on, or we kind of came to a balance,
Right.
sometimes an individual like yourself can, maybe have that review about those we've lost in our life. And you can kind of be, a nice, friend, or, a nice service provider, a nice person, to just kind of get us thinking about, maybe there's something I can do, to kind of better, cope, and to kind of advance my life a little deeper and a little stronger, a little bit more pure. And, so I'm really looking forward to learning more about your business and your practices and your writings and everything.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much for being here today. But I did say before at the beginning, we're going to talk a little bit. I keep teasing it, or talking about HMP. So
Yes.
I'm going to get your explanation for everybody. We're going to make sure that they leave here knowing what HMP is. So what is HMP? What is it to you? And I'm thinking you agree it's a great place for you to be, given the service you provide. And maybe you want to give your reflection on that. Take it away,
Yeah,
Sue.
so the Happy Neighborhood Project, I just recently joined, not joined in going to meetings and meeting people like you. I've met some fantastic people. I've had a lot of one-on-ones, and it's just a great virtual space to meet other professionals that are also looking to grow their business like we all are, and to find those, common grounds that we can help each other along. Sometimes it might be a business tool. Sometimes it might be a podcast like this. Sometimes it may be direct business from them or a referral. I love the fact that they have 25 different meetings a week, and that it's worldwide, and it's all virtual, and it's all free unless you choose to do more. So I think the premise of where it was started is I think right on for what the world needs. How's that?
That is good. That is good. I was just taking extra seconds there because I thought, you know what, I should bring up the page. So we're going to segue from your site, and you'll see I don't even have the address bar up there. I got the short link, hmpabc.com, and that forwards you to happyneighborhoodproject.com. I just wanted to quick leave that with everybody. And again, we here at World Ability Podcast Network can answer any questions from what we brought up with Happy Neighborhood Project. Otherwise, I welcome you to add that into when you get with Susan here. You can ask her more about what she just shared with you about HMP. And so a little that means that if people come to HMP, they might see you in a networking meeting, right, Susan?
That's right.
All right. All right. So we're just going to. All right. So with that, I'd like to wrap up with a little bit of a minute to win it. Just in 1 minute, anything else? We shared your LinkedIn, we shared your homepage. You want to just verbalize like other places they can see you on the World Wide Web and do that DIY stuff, and find how you're out there available to them at their computer at home or over the telephone. If you want to give your telephone number, it's all up to you. How you want.
People want to reach out to me directly, you can reach me at susan@susanlataille.com or by phone at 401-919-4944. I'm in the little state of Rhode Island.
There we go. And we're going to be working with our virtual assistant, scheduler, and podcast engineer, Emily Gomer. So you should be seeing some additional information being put into these social media posts, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, and we bring this out to our podcasting partners, Transform You, and with the Disability Channel, and with Lawrence Wingate from Wingate Studios and Wingate TV. We do work with nonprofit TV, and with Jaws Coffee Chat by Jennifer A. Whitaker, with Jen's Books and More, and so forth. So we're really excited to be able to share what we just did right now out and around the world. And if you're inclined, please help us out, help someone out there in grief, and share this video and other information on Susan with them, and just otherwise put it on your social medias, for you never know, if you put it out there, somebody might be needing Susan to help them out. All right. Thanks, Susan. That'll do it for now. We'll say goodbye, and hopefully we can have you back on one of these video interviews sometime in the future, but we'll see. Stay tuned, everybody. Bye for now.
Thank you.